Unit 2, Chapter 3, 3.1, Measures of Center. So different summaries of data. 3.1 is talking about the measures of center. The first one is mean, which is the average of a data set. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, add them up, divide by 5. The average is 81.2. So the notation for mean is different if you're talking about a population versus a sample. Because the population consists of an entire collection of individuals about which information is sought, the sample is just a smaller group of that. Even though they are calculated the same way, the population mean is the symbol, the Greek mu symbol, and the sample mean is x with a bar over it. So again, to find the mean, if you had 5 exam scores, add them up, divide by the number of exams you had, which was 5. The average is 81.2. The exam scores were rounded to whole numbers, so the mean can be rounded to one more decimal place than the original data. So we go out to 81.2. The median is another measure of center. It's the number that splits the data in half. So it's the one in the middle. You have to line them in order from least to greatest, and then it is the middle of the data. So if you have an odd number of numbers, it's going to be exactly the one in the middle. If you have an even number of numbers, you're going to have 2 in the middle, so you have to add them up and divide by 2. The average of the two numbers is what's right in the middle. So some examples finding the median or the middle number. You have to list from least to greatest. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So that's odd. So it'll be exactly the number in the middle. Here, I'm going to list from least to greatest. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. So if I'm counting in, I have 2 numbers in the middle. So I'm going to take the average of those 2 numbers. So it's 17. Notice when I enter this in a calculator, make sure you add these numbers first or use parentheses. For the correct order of operations. So resistance, it's a value that's not really affected by extreme values. Extreme values are going to be the really large ones or the really small ones. So the median, the middle number, is resistant. It's not truly affected by something really high or low. The mean is not resistant. It will be affected by an extreme value. So for an example, 5 families have the following income. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. The middle, the median of these 5 families is 34,000. Or if I add all these up, divide by 5, the mean is 38,000. Now suppose the family who's the lowest income wins a lottery, so their income becomes $1,025,000. My median moves to $44,000. The new average of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 families is when I add them all up, divide by 5, goes up to $238,000. So this extreme increase for this one family greatly affected the mean because the mean is not resistant, but it did not greatly affect the median. The median is resistant. So if we look at this in the shape of a data set, if your data set is pretty much symmetric, your median and your average, they're both in the middle, mean and median. Here, if my data is skewed left, my mean will be pulled to the left of the median. So that means here I have this extreme low value. The median stays in the middle, the mean gets pulled lower in this direction towards this extreme value. And here, if my data is skewed to the right, it's like the example above with the lottery winning family. Your median stays in the middle, but you got this really high family income that affected the average and pulled it to the direction of the skew, or the extreme value. Sometimes also used as a measure of center is the mode, which means something that appears more frequently than another number. It appears most frequently. If you have two values that appear more than other values, you could have two modes. If there are no values that appear more, you could have no modes. You could have one mode. So for example, you have 10 students. Asked how many siblings they had, so the results are listed below from least to greatest. And 1, 2, 3, 4, the one appears 4 times, so the mode is one number of sibling. It appears more frequently than the others. The mode is not always a measure of center because it can be the smallest or the largest value in a data set.